Behind the south gate of University A is a beautiful mountain. However, due to the heavy rain last year, a landslide buried a passenger car. 15 people died and 2 were seriously injured. Even if the road was cleared later, that road and even that area became very quiet. Almost every school has 7 strange stories and 8 unsolved mysteries. The road behind the south gate of University A has also become one of the strange stories of University A. Brother Yang, how's this place? A short-inch boy held a basketball and raised his chin towards the person beside him, with an expression of please praise me. The person called Brother Yang turned a blind eye to the expectations of the inch-headed man, but turned to ask another boy on his right who looked well-behaved, with the same words and the same expression, Anan, what do you think of this place? Inch man. Yuning is satisfied with the dilapidated but secluded basketball court. He nodded and replied, it's very quiet, very good. Xiang Yang showed a mouthful of big white teeth, as if he had received some great compliment. The cropped man rolled his eyes. He was shameless. Obviously he discovered this place. A few boys following behind them giggled and booed. Brother Yang, is your wife's slave's illness still cured? Xiang Yang's expression darkened immediately, and the cropped man turned his head and glared at them. Some of the boys shut their mouths, some made movements of zipping their mouths, and some were puzzled and muttered, what's wrong? Didn't Brother Yang feel happy when he said that before? The people around him immediately explained to him in a low voice, I don't know if you didn't come a while ago, but Lu Onlin is chasing after a handsome guy from the finance department, named Shu Yu. The man just wanted to be contemptuous, but suddenly remembered who Shu Yu was. His eyes widened, a little unbelievable, but also a little sympathetic to look at the tall back of Brother Yang. Poor, the little cabbage that has been kept for more than 10 years is gone. Xiang Yang felt that the boy's gaze on his back was piercing, clapped his hands twice, and said loudly, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, let's go, who can stop me today, I'll treat Mensi tonight. The boy's attention was immediately diverted, and Holila got together and went straight to the boxing team, simple and rude. There were 8 boys in a group. Yuning was not in the same group as Xiang Yang, he was in the same group as the inch-cut man, that is, Lin Yuan. It was originally an activity for relaxation, and both teams played more casually. The autumn wind passed by, and the basketball court was full of wanton laughter of young people. Suddenly, Yuning caught sight of a figure from the corner of his eye. It happened that his teammate was passing the ball into his hands. His original relaxed and leisurely style of play suddenly changed. After passing the opponent's interception, his opponent became Xiang Yang. Without thinking about anything else, Yuning took a visual look at the distance, jumped up on the spot, and prepared to shoot a 3-pointer. Xiang Yang followed him and jumped up, reaching out to stop him symbolically. His palm missed the ball, but brushed against Yuning's exposed arm. The movement was too small and light, and the boys around didn't notice much. The basketball passed through the basket and fell to the ground, making a sound like a heartbeat. Anlan, show. Tisk tisk, Brother Yang, it's your fault, you openly release water. Hey, friend, if you're not in the same group as Anlan, shouldn't you be mentally prepared that your teammate is an undercover agent? It makes sense. The laughter continued, and Xiang Yang didn't care about being teased by his friends. He just watched Yuning's smiling face and followed suit, but soon, the smile on his face froze, because he found that Yuning's smile was not for him of. Yuning, that is, Lu Onlin, gestured to his friends to wait a moment, and ran a few steps towards the person who had already walked to the side of the basketball court. He took a breath, his eyes sparkled, and his tone was undisguised surprise. Senior, why are you here? Their appointment was half an hour later. The man looked at him and said, come and wait for you. The person who came was wearing a light grey sweater, black casual trousers, and a pair of glasses. He looked like a top student, and he didn't fit in with this group of scumbags who had been studying for thousands of years. But Lu Onlin is different from them, he is not a scumbag, he is also a top student, standing with that person, he is a perfect match. A group of boys looked at Xiang Yang subtly, as expected, their brother Yang's face had already turned dark. The boy who sympathized with Xiang Yang before began to mutter again, "What can I do, this guy looks even more handsome, he's a school bully, we brother Yang can't." Lin Yuan standing beside Xiang Yang stared at him threateningly. The boy had a strong desire to survive, so he immediately changed his words, "Bah! He must be a pompous little boy. Brother Yang is 10,000 times stronger than him." Yu Ning's face was flushed. I don't know if it was because of the exercise just now, or because the person in front of him said wait for him. He wanted to stretch out his hand to pull Shuyu, but when he saw the sweat on his hand, he put it away again, and put his hands behind his back, embarrassed, said, "Senior, wait for me for a while? Let's fight for a while." Shu Yu took his little tricks into his eyes, and a sarcasm flashed across his bottomless eyes. He nodded with a light smile, "Okay, you guys play." Seeing his smile, Yu Ning blushed even more, looked around and found a good seat for him. "Senior, you sit over there, where the light is not harsh." Shu Yu nodded, looked over Yu Ning's shoulders, and met Xiang Yang on the basketball court. He bent his lips imperceptibly, turned and walked towards the place Yu Ning said. Xiang Yang clenched his fists, then loosened them again, looking at Yu Ning, who turned his head 3 times a step, extremely irritable. Seeing his expression, Lin Yuan asked him in a low voice, "Do you still want to fight?" Xiang Yang wiped the sweat off his forehead with a cold face, "Stop spanking. Even spanking, some people's minds have already flown." "Ah!" Yu Ning, who ran back, just heard it, puzzled, "Why didn't you fight?" Xiang Yang half-truthfully taunted him, "Ha, what are you still hitting? Seeing you winking at your senior while beating? Hot eyes." Yu Ning looked at him, with "single dogs are terrible" written all over his face, and then asked other people, and when they heard Xiang Yang say no to fighting, they naturally stopped fighting. He shrugged, rather carelessly, and said, "That's fine, then the senior and I will go first, bye." The others looked at each other, "Oh, good." Seeing that Yu Ning really didn't miss it, and even walked towards the shade of the tree impatiently, Xiang Yang picked up the coat that was put aside bitterly, and shouted, go to Mensi, I'll treat you." There is a bathroom by the basketball court. Yu Ning talked to Shu Yu and went to the bathroom. Because of the problem at the south gate, few people come to the restroom here. They probably feel that the place with such a dirty smell like the restroom has a more spiritual atmosphere, so there is no or smell in the restroom. Yu Ning noticed that there was no one in the men's room, and the sunny, cute and shy look disappeared in the blink of an eye, leaving only a handsome boy with perverted eyebrows and eyes. In an instant, they are like 2 different people. He was lazily washing his hands at the sink, his beautiful lips were raised, evoking a casual but extremely smile, "Does that idiot like you?" He was talking to himself in the mirror. Soon, the classic picture of a ghost movie appeared in the mirror on the sink. The person in it was still standing when Yu Ning lowered his head, his face was dazed. I don't know, no He always thought it was just a joke. If someone really came in and saw it at this moment, they would definitely scream and let Nanman be crowned the number 1 of A's strange talk overnight. Oh, Yu Ning is not interested in the relationship between food, he just mentioned it casually, and then said, "That scum is very hostile to your big fool." Hearing that, the person in the mirror was startled suddenly, as if he had caught something, but when he thought about it, there was nothing. Even though he lived it again, he still couldn't see it, so he could only tell the truth, "I didn't notice." Yu Ning turned off the faucet and gave a light tisk. Although he didn't speak, the people in the mirror could feel that he was saying that he was stupid. The person in the mirror laughed at himself. Yes, he was really stupid. He was so stupid that he didn't realize that the person he loved was hideous until after he died. But it doesn't matter, the demon in front of him can avenge him. This is a deal he bought with his soul as a bargaining chip. Yuning wiped the water stains on his hands carefully with a paper towel. It was obviously an extremely simple move, but it was done by him, but it was noble and elegant, as if he was using a good silk handkerchief to wipe expensive jade ornaments. He raised his eyelids, met Lu Onlin's gaze in the mirror, and smiled half-smile. "Why, do you think I'm amazing?" Lu Onlin didn't hesitate at all. "Of course, you are amazing. Not to mention anything else, just imitating him can be said to be exactly the same." Yuning was pleased by this human being's sincere praise, and the smile on his lips deepened, and those originally clean and clear black eyes slowly turned into devilish pupils with charming red. Lu Onlin in the mirror hurriedly glanced away, not daring to continue looking. At the beginning of his rebirth, he had seen the real body of this demon. He couldn't describe it in detail. If he had to use one word to describe it, it would be thrilling. This demon is so beautiful. Just looking at it can make people sink willingly. Yuning is not surprised by this at all. There are many demons or angels in this state in front of him. It is not normal for a human being to be unable to resist. In fact, based on his appearance, he somehow became the domain master of their succubus. It's just a little bit better than the lazy demons using a guessing game to choose the domain master. The good thing is that Yuning didn't feel it, but the annoyance was really annoying. Every day outside the door, countless demons or sneaking angels begged for sleep in front of his door, which made Yuning often want to hit people. Yes, Yuning's demon race is the succubus, the kind of succubus who has nothing to do all day long, only thinks about all day long, takes as the main food, and is in charge of lust. The general succubus is soft and charming, but Yuning is probably 10 times more delicate and charming than ordinary succubus, especially his appearance of not being interested in anything makes people want to conquer. The number has skyrocketed, and anyone who watches it thinks of X or wants to be X, which can be said to be very frenzied. But the reason Yuning showed his eyes at this moment is definitely not because he wants to charm this human being, but because he is vain. He likes others to praise him, especially sincere praise, which always makes his tail pointy and can't help but curl up. But there is also a restricted area, that is, don't praise his face. One is that it is annoying to hear too much, and the other is that he only mentions his face, as if he has nothing worth talking about except Yanninda. This is similar to a person who is looked at differently because of his outstanding appearance. After becoming famous, he thinks that fans only love his appearance, so people are not allowed to praise him as good-looking or handsome, which is pretentious and hypocritical. Of course, there is a premise that these people who praise him for his good looks are all thinking of sleeping with him, and they are not pure beauty fans. To be honest, Yuning has not met anyone who praised him for his good looks, not because he wants to sleep with him. But Yuning is a succubus, so his restricted area is still pretentious and hypocritical in the eyes of others. The author has something to say. After falling asleep, I praised Xiaoning Ning Shenqi's beauty and Gong who wanted to get closer to each other. I still don't know why I was abandoned, smiley face. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. After Yuning went out from the bathroom, Shu Yu was still waiting for him outside. Standing under an old locust tree, Shu Yu looked down at the phone. When he realized that he was coming out, he put the phone away and smiled at him. The afterglow of the setting sun fell on his shoulders through the leaves of the locust tree, and his whole body was wrapped in a film of light called gentleness. But who knows what he looked like after tearing off that layer of film? Yuning looked at Shu Yu's gaze, which was obsessed and slightly shy. It was the usual gaze of young people when they were passionately in love. He played it almost perfectly. His date with Shu Yu is very simple, just have a dinner. Because Shu Yu has to work at night, he doesn't have much free time to accompany Yuning. Today Friday, Yuning didn't pester him and went home after eating. Although Lu Onlin in the previous life liked Shu Yu, he was a well-behaved lover. He was not clingy and never disturbed Shu Yu's private space. Therefore, Shu Yu had no doubts, and only told Yuning to be careful on the road. The Lu family is a wealthy family. After returning home, Yuning went upstairs to the bathroom. Although it was cool in autumn, due to human physical problems, he still sweated after playing. There is a mirror in the bathroom. When Yuning first came, that is, when Lu Onlin was reborn through trading, they met in this mirror. Lu Onlin's revenge list has 6 people, 6 men. Among them, the one with the most hatred is Shu Yu. He is Lu Onlin's favorite senior, Lu Onlin's legal husband, and the culprit who pushed him into the dark abyss. Let me talk about the cause of Lu Onlin's death first. He committed suicide due to depression. He died at the age of 24, which is a splendid age in life. All the turning points happened in this cold winter when he was 19 years old. It was a rare good weather in winter, and the warm sunshine made Lu Onlin's good mood even better. He was going on a date today, with his senior. It was the senior who took the initiative to ask him out, and this alone made Lu Onlin feel like a deer in his heart, jumping around non-stop. Not to mention, the senior said that the night view there is beautiful, which hinted that we might spend the night together. Half excited and half shy, Lu Onlin took a bath at home, chose a suit of clothes that best suited his figure but would not look too much, and then drove a relatively low-key car to go out. The senior's family background is average. He drove. The psychology of showing off wealth in luxury cars is too strong, and it is easy to leave a bad impression. Shu Yu booked a hot spring resort. The resort is still very famous in S City. Besides the hot springs, there is also a large plum grove. It is a perfect place to enjoy snow and plum blossoms in winter. It is a good sanctuary for couples. Shu Yu asked Lu Onlin for dinner, although Lu Onlin wanted to go right away early in the morning, but in order not to appear too impatient, he spent the whole morning picking out gifts for Shu Yu in the city, and only started to leave in the afternoon. However, it was a holiday, so even in the afternoon there was still a lot of traffic. After being stuck in a traffic jam for a while, after getting off the expressway, Lu Onlin realized that it was caused by a car accident ahead. The bloodstains on the ground passing by the scene, coupled with the traffic jam for so long, made Lu Onlin's original good mood inevitably drop by 2 points. It gets dark early in winter, and the warm sunshine is replaced by the cold night. Seeing that the time for the appointment is approaching, Lu Onlin hasn't arrived at the resort that she agreed with Shu Yu. He's getting a little irritable. But when he saw a broken-down car parked on the side of the road towards the resort, and the owner beckoned to him for help, Lu Onlin still slowed down the car, stopped slowly, and asked them what was wrong. The main reason is that I don't know what's going on. On the way to the resort, there are no other cars passing by at the moment. Lu Onlin may be the one the owner of the car has been waiting for some time. Not long after it got dark, some car horns could be heard in the distance. It was a black off-road vehicle with a license plate that was many times higher than the one driven by Lu Onlin. In addition, the owner's words of gratitude and kind words the face made Lu Onlin lower his guard a bit. If someone with evil intentions wanted to do something, he would not choose such a blatant way. But unfortunately, they are so arrogant. When Lu Onlin got out of the car, as soon as he approached the eye-catching off-road vehicle, the rear door suddenly opened, and there were 4 men sitting inside. Lu Onlin felt bad, and was about to run to her car, but it was too late, and the arm of the man inside had already grabbed him. And the car owner outside covered his mouth in time to call for help, and it took only a few seconds for him to be brought into the car. Their series of actions are shockingly skilled. The off-road vehicle passed by Lu Onlin's car, deviated from the main road to the resort, and chose a remote cement road. The cement road was not rolled, and the road was seen to be a dilapidated old road with potholes, but the performance of the car was too good, walking was not hindered. The car stopped at a small fishing hut, and in that abandoned fishing hut, Lu Onlin suffered inhuman treatment. All Lu Onlin's cursing, begging, and crying during this period, as if all the sounds he made, fell in their ears and became a catalyst for their excitement. Later, gradually, Lu Onlin couldn't make a sound anymore. He felt that he was dying, and the pain all over his body made his consciousness blur. Hanging on the fishing net, it must be beautiful. But in the end they still didn't do that, because the tools in the fishing house were too crude and not enough for them to operate. In the end, Lu Onlin, who was already dead in the eyes of the 5 people, was thrown into the half-dried stream outside the fishing house, leaving only some silt. And those 5 people laughed and drove away in that expensive off-road vehicle like they were full of wine and food. Lu Onlin no longer remembers how he struggled to climb to the shore, and how he was found by the passing villagers and sent to the hospital. He only knew that he couldn't die, and he didn't want to die. He had parents who had high hopes for him, and waiting for his seniors in the resort. Even if he died, he still wanted to say sorry and goodbye to them personally. In the end, Lu Onlin was lucky enough to be rescued and returned. Even though the tragedy happened, the love of his parents and the perseverance of his seniors gave Lu Onlin the courage to continue to live. He actively cooperated with treatment and rehabilitation. Although occasionally the nurses cast their gazes stabbingly, although the caring words of classmates are full of sharp sympathy, although he can't stop trembling and fear in the dead of night, but he can bear it one by one for the people he loves, and live. Give yourself and your family a hope. People with a bright heart will never be in the dark all the time. Because of that incident, Lu Onlin took a break from studying to recuperate from his injuries. Shu Yu would come to the hospital or go to Lu Onlin's house to accompany him whenever he was free. And Lan, that will never happen again. At first Lu Onlin's parents would take their anger out on him, but seeing him accompany his scarred son time and time again, and let him get out of the shadow, they also knew that it was not entirely Shu Yu's responsibility. Later, after Shu Yu graduated, he proposed to Lu Onlin, but Lu's parents didn't object much. They knew that their son liked this boy, and this boy did treat their son well during this time. They held a wedding soon, a low-key but very warm and touching wedding. Everything seemed to be moving in a good direction, and Lu Onlin felt that she loved the right person more than once, and thanked Shu Yu from the bottom of her heart more than once. Lu Onlin's body has basically recovered. He is very happy that he can marry the senior. On the wedding night, he is also nervous and apprehensive, but the senior is such a gentle person, he should trust him. But later, Shu Yu didn't touch him. He told Lu Onlin, "Take your time, don't worry, he will accompany him." Lu Onlin was anxious to explain that he was healed and had forgotten the past, but he swallowed the words again. In fact, he wasn't sure if he had come out, and he wasn't sure if he would think about those nightmares again when he was intimate with people. After a few months like this, Shu Yu still cared for Lu Onlin and loved them very much. Anyone who saw them would think they were very happy, and lamented that Lu Onlin had found a good man. But Shu Yu still hadn't touched Lu Onlin. Mostly just kisses. This made Lu Onlin very uneasy. Although he kept persuading himself that it was because Shu Yu cared about him, he still couldn't help but think he thinks I'm dirty and I'm not good enough for him. He doesn't doubt Shu Yu's feelings for him. The pain in the past has caused him great harm, but he has overcome it because of his desire to survive and the love of the people around him. Once the emotions fell into negativity, those memories came like bloodthirsty insects, wanting to all his blood. Lu Onlin suffered from depression, and the symptoms were already serious when he was discovered. This is actually not too surprising, after all, he has experienced such a thing before. But it still made his parents feel unbearable heartache. They reprimanded Shu Yu, saying that Shu Yu was too incompetent as a husband. Shu Yu was sadder than them. He hugged Lu Onlin tightly on the hospital bed, as if the world was leaving him in pain. When Lu Onlin was found, she was self-harming in the bathroom. After the treatment, Lu Onlin calmed down a lot. He knew he couldn't go on like this, so he asked Shu Yu why he refused to touch him. Shu Yu was also on the verge of collapse, but he held back. He said that he loved him so much that he didn't know how to love him. He was afraid that he would get hurt again, so he was always careful, but he didn't expect to let him. He apologized to him, hugged him, and cried. Lu Onlin believed him. The criminal who caused great harm to Lu Onlin, he remembered the appearance of one of them at first, and cooperated with the police to describe it in detail, but the police never caught anyone. Later, the Lu family's parents went to inquire, but they had no new news. The Lu family has a property, but because of Lu Onlin's affairs, the two elders were physically and mentally exhausted, and Lu Onlin's situation was not suitable for managing the company, so they were handed over to Shu Yu to take care of them. At the beginning, Father Lu was a little worried, but gradually, they saw Shu Yu's management ability and love for Xiaoan, and they stopped being too defensive. Once, Lu Onlin was in good condition, and Shu Yu was going to attend a business reception, so she asked him if he wanted to go for a walk together, and Lu Onlin agreed. But he never expected that he would meet one of those 5 men at the reception. He didn't know the specific name of the other party, but he heard the people at the reception and even his husband calling him Mr. Shen respectfully. The enemy was right in front of him, but Lu Onlin couldn't do anything except tremble. He even found it difficult to ask for help. After returning home that day, Lu Onlin had nightmares again and again, and her high fever persisted. During this period, he heard the weary cries and sighs of his parents and husband. He thought that he would become a burden after all. He has long since been unable to return to the sunny and cheerful Lu Onlin back then, and it is better to relax than everyone suffering for him. After waking up, Lu Onlin committed suicide. After his death, Lu Onlin did not disappear immediately, he still had 7 days to stay. After his death, he was no longer troubled by depression. Looking at his parents who were sobbing in front of his corpse, Lu Onlin regretted why he was so cowardly. At the funeral, his best friends, lover, and family members were extremely sad, and they saw him off silently in the cold wind and rain. After the other funeral attendees left, they wept uncontrollably. Lu Onlin couldn't comfort them, he could only kneel beside them and cry with them. But, it's useless to regret, he's dead, and he can't do anything. He wants to say goodbye to those who love him, even if they will never hear his voice again. He stayed with his parents for 2 days, and then went to find his husband, Shu Yu. After Shu Yu finished his funeral affairs, he returned to the company exhausted physically and mentally. He hadn't been home for 2 days, and he always rested in the office. Lu Onlin was very worried about him. Everyone understood Shu Yu very well, thinking that he was afraid of going back to the home where Lu Onlin was gone. Even Lu Onlin himself thinks so. But reality gave him a slap in the face. Shu Yu, who was alone in the office, didn't have any sad emotions, except for his haggard face and a little sloppy image. His entire face was filled with an extremely relaxed expression. There was still a photo of Lu Onlin on his desk, and he smiled at that photo. It was the smile of a winner, and he was obviously in a good mood. This kind of happiness is not the self-paralysis and distortion of losing a loved one, but a feeling of relaxation and comfort from the heart. At that moment, Lu Onlin was stunned for a long time but did not come back to his senses. He still hoped that everything in front of him was just an illusion. Until the door of the office was knocked, he watched Shu Yu skillfully put on an affectionate appearance that he could only paralyze himself with work because of his grief. Lu Onlin could no longer deceive herself and others. He doesn't love him. Probably because she was too unwilling. For the rest of the time, Lu Onlin followed Shu Yu closely. The more she followed, the colder Lu Onlin felt. Not only did this man not love him, he had cheated him for many years. His encounters and even his death were all pushed forward by him. But why? Lu Onlin couldn't figure it out. No matter what, even if she didn't love him, even if she wanted to take over the magpie's nest and get his parents' company, Shu Yu didn't have to treat him like that. Lu Onlin didn't understand until one night when Shu Yu had a nightmare, woke up in the middle of the night, and muttered to the empty room. Shu Yu was reborn, and she hated him so much in her previous life. And now, Lu Onlin also hates him very much. He not only ruined his life, took over his parents' company, but also swaggered through the market with a hypocritical mask of loving him, defrauding everyone around Lu Onlin. It was disgusting. He regretted so much, regretted that he didn't see this man clearly at the beginning, regretted that he died later. If there is such a thing as regret, Lu Onlin's point is already full. But what is even more desperate is that he has no time, he is dead, he is about to disappear, and he has no chance to come back. Yes, darling. Very abruptly, Lu Onlin heard such a voice, like a ray of dawn in the despairing darkness. Honey, do you know about the devil's deal? I don't know how long it took, maybe it was a moment, maybe a century. When Lu Onlin opened his eyes again, he returned to the age of 19, the self in the bathroom mirror, without any ugly scars on his body. Nothing has happened yet. The author has something to say, don't get me wrong, it wasn't Xiao Ning Ning who called dear. The sound of water in the bathroom faded away. Yunyuning stepped barefoot on the floor wet with heat, making a slight sound. Lu Onlin, who was in a daze in the mirror, heard the voice, came back from the memories, and then subconsciously turned his face to the side to avoid sight. It was obviously the same face, but he didn't dare to look at the devil's appearance every time after taking a bath. Without him, it's just too tempting. The white bathrobe was draped loosely on Yuning's body, barely covering those fatal spots. Coupled with his indifferent expression, the original handsome boy's face was full of blood-spurting lust. He walked to the mirror, pulled a towel to wipe his wet hair with one hand, and hooked up the black gemstone ring placed in front of the mirror with his little finger. Oh, don't get me wrong, he didn't seal the human soul in the mirror. That gemstone ring is where Lu Onlin lives, and ordinary people can't see it. Except for sleeping and bathing, Yuning always carried it with him to ensure that Lu Onlin could witness the whole transaction process with his own eyes, and it was absolutely open and transparent, not perfunctory and not deceptive. This is also the rule of the new Devil's Deal. Long ago, Devil's Deals were just a bad game. Human beings live in the world, and they inevitably have all kinds of desires. Demons heard their voices, so they began to trade with them, taking something that humans have, such as love, and then trading them for money that humans dream of. Human beings are naturally ecstatic when they can get it with any effort. But the reason why demons are called demons is that they are good at perfecting people. Human beings who get money will slowly lose their health, so he takes the money he got to exchange for health, and when his life is dying, he may see the beauty of love again, so he wants to exchange for love again, but at this time, the health he just got back is no longer worth the deal, and there is nothing worthy of the devil's fancy on him. What should we do? All he has to do is sell his soul. In the end, he did get a beautiful and bright love, but his poverty will make the beautiful love slowly deteriorate due to oil, salt, sauce and vinegar, and eventually he will have nothing. In the beginning, the demons liked to admire the stupid appearance of humans, but as time passed, as long as the humans who took the first bait, they couldn't resist the second and third times. Their souls were different, but in the end the transaction was different. There are not many endings, which makes the demons feel a little boring. But it doesn't matter, they can also open up a new way of playing, that is, the later devil's transaction price of the soul, in exchange for the chance of the devil to avenge you. But demons have never been trustworthy guys. When the demons get the soul that humans voluntarily handed over, most of the demons will choose to eat him directly. As for the content of the transaction, don't worry about him. Anyway, he had already eaten it all, and it was impossible for him to know whether he helped him get revenge in the end. There are also some demons who, after eating them, gave him a little bit of residual consciousness very badly, and told him clearly with his little bit of residual consciousness, "Ha, silly, I just said that you still believed it." Ha ha ha, I laughed so hard. Also, after eating the soul of the transaction, they will assign servants to complete the subsequent transaction content, but they will basically not ask about the completion status. But who is kind among the servants who follow the devil? Most of them will occupy the human body, enjoy themselves wantonly in the world, or transfer the treatment they suffered in front of the devil to innocent people. As for revenge, oh sorry, I'm having fun, forget about it. This behavior was too heinous, so in heaven shook hands and made peace. In order to show sincerity, the devil's transaction was directly banned. This ancient activity was not opened until the trading rules were revised in recent years. The new rules don't say that you can't eat human souls. After all, doing things for free is something only angels can do. But what makes all the demons less interested is that the demons who promise human transactions must complete the transaction in person. After the transaction is completed, the human only the soul of the demon belongs to the demon, otherwise the transaction will be void. You can't play with human beings, look at their struggling and painful expressions, and work hard. The rules say that in the process of revenge, you can't use more power than the world to hurt the original people. Let's ask this kind of transaction, which one will be fine if he's full? What kind of idiot will pick it up? If you have that spare time, why not find that newly born alluring little succubus to clock in and ask for sleep? The coquettish little succubus wiped her hair half dry, then put on the ring and left the bathroom. After leaving the bathroom, Yuning felt that Lu Onlin's mood was a little unstable. The first day he came to this world was Saturday night last week. That night, Lu's parents had something to do and didn't come home. He went back to school the next day, and did not see them. Lu Onlin was afraid to meet his parents, he felt very guilty towards them, and he felt ashamed to face them. On the day of his funeral, in the cold and rainy day, his parents asked over and over again why he was taken away at the age of 24, and why he suffered all that pain. They didn't know who to ask, and no one gave them an answer. They knelt in front of his tomb, desolate and helpless. Every time Lu Onlin thinks of their figures that day, his heart hurts. Little demon, you didn't care about the human's mood at all, and ran across the clothes in the closet with his slender fingers. Which one should I wear? Lu Onlin wasn't sure if he was talking to him. Yuning picked out a set of home clothes casually, this one. Sure enough, she was not talking to him, but Lu Onlin did not continue to feel sad. When Yuning got dressed and went downstairs, the Lu family's parents just came back. Yuning raised a smile and shouted, "Dad, Mom." Father Lu responded, with wrinkles on his face when he laughed, "Xiaoan is back." Mother dear looked at Yuning and frowned, "Why haven't you seen me for a week, and you lost a little weight?" There is a kind of thinness called your mother thinks you are thin. Yuning is helpless, Mom. Before he said anything, Mother Lu focused her eyes on his thin clothes and half-dry hair, so she started the nagging mode of most mothers, "Xiaoan, it's not your mother who said you, why are you so big? Take care of yourself? It's cold, don't wear so little clothes all the time, and dry your hair after taking a shower. You don't feel it now when you're young, but you'll know when you're old." Yuning looked at Papa Lu for help. Father Lu coughed and said to the kitchen, "Sister Feng, when are you going to eat?" The kitchen replied, "Sir, it's ready." Mother Lu turned her head and glared at her husband. Father Lu shrank his head, eat first, the children are hungry." Yuning hurriedly took her to the dining table to sit down, and flattered her, Mom, I'll go shopping with you tomorrow, let's have dinner first." Hearing this, Mother dear did not continue, and Father dear, who had just sat down, gave Yuning a warrior praise. What is a man who can offer to go shopping with a woman, but a warrior? Especially rich women. After all, there is a lot of money, and the interest in shopping will not be interrupted due to insufficient funds. After dinner, Yuning went back to the room and locked the door. Lu Onlin in the ring was still immersed in the emotion of being reunited with his family, and when he came back to his senses, he found that the demon seemed to be doing some evil summoning because a hole with a red glow suddenly appeared on the floor. He didn't know what Yuning was going to do, and he didn't dare to disturb him with questions. After a while, the hole disappeared, leaving a cat on the floor. It is also a very round black cat, with a smooth coat, and it is very good to eat. It moved its ears, and rubbed against Yu Ning's ankle in a whiny and doggy way. "Master." "Hey, this voice?" Lu Onlin remembered, wasn't it the one who asked him if he wanted to make a deal, one kiss at a time? It turned out to be a cat. Yu Ning picked up the monster at his feet and rubbed it. "Check where Shu Yu is going to work tomorrow." "Meow, good master." Soon the black cat gave Yu Ning an accurate reply, including when Shu Yu went to and from get off work. Lu Onlin didn't understand why Yu Ning didn't ask him directly. Do you disdain to ask him, a human being? According to his observation these days, Yu Ning doesn't seem to be a demon who thinks that talking to humans will lower his status. What is that for? Could it be to show off his cat? "Your cat is so cute, it looks very comfortable to touch," Lu Onlin boasted tentatively. The black cat squinted its eyes halfway, and began to purr in enjoyment. Yu Ning touched the fluffy monster under his palm, half-closed his eyes in the same enjoyment, raised the corners of his mouth but gave a reserved hum. Lu Onlin. The next day, Cloud City Shopping Center. Yu Ning is resting on a sofa in a store, and Mother Dear is still happily choosing the new clothes of this store. Seeing that her attention was all on the clothes, Yu Ning began to look at the opposite store, saying that it was the opposite, but the actual distance was across the hall of the shopping center, hundreds of meters and bright lights. It was easy to see clearly the face of the person opposite. Yu Ning's current body is human, but he himself is not. This obstacle is equivalent to no for him. He can see the opposite side clearly. The store opposite is a luxury men's clothing store, where Shu Yu works, and the salesperson is a temporary worker, which is relatively rare in this kind of store. And because of Shu Yu's good image, he increased a lot of sales, so the shop owner agreed to him to come every weekend. Up to now, Shu Yu has been quite familiar with this store, and all his performances have satisfied the store manager. The other store employees are all girls, so it goes without saying that he has a good impression of Shu Yu. The store manager also asked him if he would work part-time during the winter vacation, and he could be given a salary increase. But today, Shu Yu ran into trouble. The son of the boss of the head office of the brand store brought his girlfriend to the shopping mall, and happened to wander in front of his own store. Coincidentally, the young master is Shu Yu's classmate at the same school, and even more coincidentally, the goddess that the young master once liked rejected him, saying that the person she liked was Shu Yu. So that's how the play started. Yu Ning slightly bent his eyes, changed his posture and sat on the sofa, watching the fire from the other side. The author has something to say. "Dear, the cat is so pretty." Ning, the corners of his mouth crazily raised yes. The black cat is equivalent to the system. In addition to being able to do the things of the general system, it can also masturbate. Isn't it great? If you think it is, just collect it. Comparing my heart. Meow. Yu Ning was seeing the eldest and young classmate bossing around, asking Shu Yu to give him one set and another set for him, and serve his girlfriend with tea and water, while Shu Yu was serving tea to the elders with a calm face. When the young master had a girlfriend, Mother Lu picked it out. Mother Dear saw that Yu Ning had a happy face, and thought that Yu Ning thought she had finally finished shopping, so she said helplessly, "Look at you, didn't you just go shopping for an hour? There is a nice dessert shop on this floor, go there and wait for your mother bar." Yu Ning couldn't wait to get up. This viewing place is indeed not the best place. Mother Lu watched her son disappear in the blink of an eye, and complained to the store manager, "Young people nowadays. The store manager is naturally holding big customers, boys are like this, my one hears that I want to go shopping, and refuses to come together. Your child can still go shopping with you for an hour, it's not easy." The dear mother, who was originally derogatory and secretly praised her face, was full of smiles, and happily bought 2 more sets, and the store manager also had a smile on her face. There are quite a lot of people in the dessert shop. Except for men like Yu Ning who can't go shopping with women and need help to rest here, most of them are couples. Fortunately, there are still vacancies, and Yuning chose a vacant seat with a particularly good angle facing Shu Yu's shop. As soon as he sat down, he heard a hooded man at the table in front of him sneaking, "Oh, Shu Yu's shop, he is being ordered to serve tea by Wang Ji at the moment. Let me tell you, you haven't seen his expression of being calm about honor and disgrace, hey? Is it a compliment? Well, then he has a picture of dead face. Oh? What the hell? It's so simple, I really. Brother Yang, why do you think this guy is so good at pretending? Brother Yang, you are not wronged, really, look at his rank. And Xiaonan. Okay, you can call Anan seeing well, it's not me, he's just a little idiot, Lin Yuan." Yuning pointed his finger at his desktop, "Who are you calling an idiot?" The man in the hood had just drank the milk tea that was about to moisten his throat, when he suddenly heard Yuning's voice and looked up to see Yuning's face. He spat out with a poof, then coughed earth-shatteringly, attracting many people around looked sideways. Then what? Lin Yuan pressed the phone screen randomly, then stuffed it into his trouser pocket, pretending that he was the only one complaining. "Haha, it's An Lan, what a coincidence. Ha. He can't go on." Yuning sat down opposite him expressionlessly, pursed her lips, looked at him and said, "I'm going shopping with my mother." Feeling guilty, Lin Yuan didn't dare to meet his gaze, pulled off his hat, and quickly fanned himself with one hand, his eyes wandering. Auntie is here too, where is she? Why didn't I see it?" At this time, the waiter came to ask what Yuning wanted, and Yuning ordered a small cake and a cup of milk tea. He is a sweet devil. Seeing his calm look, Lin Yuan guessed that he might have just heard him say that he was stupid behind his back, so he carefully sat down again, hesitantly said, "Well, An Lan." Yuning still stared at him blankly, "Are you following the senior?" Lin Yuan's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly waved his hands to deny, No, I just happened to see." Yuning looked at him in a hurry and didn't speak immediately. In the last life, it was also at the same time and the same place. Yuanlin was very angry when she heard Lin Yuan talking about Shu Yu behind her back and suspected of stalking her. Seeing that Shu Yu was being bullied by rich second-generation classmates, and was fired even though he had done nothing wrong, I felt so sorry for Shu Yu. His seniors are so good, and they still want to target him like this. Later, Lin Yuan chased him and apologized, but he didn't respond, and since then, Yuanlin's relationship with them has faded. Later, at Yuanlin's funeral, Lin Yuan followed Xiang Yang, and when he saw Shu Yu, he immediately punched him. Yuning lowered his eyes, as if he believed Lin Yuan's clumsy excuse, and sighed, "I know you don't like seniors very much." Lin Yuan didn't know how to respond. Yuning said again, "However, he is also my boyfriend, you just look at my face." Lin Yuan couldn't help but said, "Have you never thought about Brother Yang?" Yuning looked blank, what's wrong with him? Lin Yuan hesitated to speak, and finally wiped his face. He didn't say to continue, but said, "All right, it's my fault, talking about people behind your back, I apologize to you." Yuanlin did not accept Lin Yuan's apology in the previous life, but now Yuning has a melancholy expression of friends can't accept his lover well, sighed lightly, lowered his head to stir the milk tea that the waiter just brought, and sighed, "Actually, the seniors are quite nice, you will know if you get along with each other more." Lin Yuan couldn't help but rolled his eyes when he heard the first half of the sentence, but then he thought of what Yuning said, so he didn't care about what happened just now, so he said good with a look of you, it's up to you. They are in peace here, and Shu Yu's side has developed to the point where the young master is not satisfied with Shu Yu's service attitude, and asks the store manager to fire him. Because the young master deliberately wanted to embarrass Shu Yu, his voice was raised a lot, causing many passers-by to stop and watch. It also includes the dessert shop where Yuning and the others are now. Most of the people who come here have nothing to do. Hearing the movements over there, they all stretched their necks and asked the people around them, whether they are strangers or not, as long as they satisfy their own desires. Gossip heart. What's the matter? I don't know, I heard that the employees are going to be fired. Oh? I know that little brother. He is a student of University A. He came here to work part-time. He looks so handsome. What's the use of being handsome? Isn't this still dismissed by the rich as dissatisfied? It's really annoying, it's great to be rich. I think that person deliberately made things difficult, and I really don't deserve that classmate. Facts have proved that being rich is great. Facing a temporary worker who can only increase part of the sales and the prints of the head office, the manager's choice did not exceed the expectations of the people who eat melons. He talked to Shu Yu in a low voice, persuading him not to feel too uncomfortable, and introducing him to continue working in a friend's shop if he had the opportunity. The girls in the shop felt angry for Shu Yu, but they didn't dare to confront the young master directly, fearing that they would lose their jobs, so they could only glared at the young master secretly. If this were to be put in a novel or a TV series, then the young master would be cannon fodder and would be slapped in the face every minute. But the reality is that Shu Yu left the men's clothing store under the proud gaze of the young master. When he walked away, his back was straight and his steps were not flustered, as if he was always so tough and upright, weatherproof. It made the favorability of those who followed him rise. Lin Yuan kept as quiet as a chicken after someone in the dessert shop talked about Shu Yu's situation, and observed all the expressions of Yu Ning by the way. Yu Ning, of course, acted out his anger at the injustice suffered by Shu Yu at the right time, and his heartache when Shu Yu left without saying a word, but his never left the chair for half a minute, and he ate the cake he ordered. Lin Yuan, it's very confusing. Although Lin Yuan thought it was a bit strange that Yu Ning didn't come forward to help Shu Yu, but he didn't ask Yu Ning directly why. He didn't want their conversation to start around Shu Yu again. Yu Ning looked at the empty plate, his eyes were distracted, and his mood was depressed. The portion of this piece is too small. He said softly to Lin Yuan, if you have something to do, go first, I will wait for my mother here, it may take a while. Oh. Only then did Lin Yuan remember that Yu Ning said that he was here with his mother, so if he didn't show up, he might be because he didn't want Mother Lu to find out about his relationship with Shu Yu. Lin Yuan thought about it for a while, and got up simply, okay, I still want to buy 2 movie tickets for my goddess, so I'll go first. Yet. Yu Ning watched him leave, seeing his boyfriend being bullied and in a bad mood. He ordered several desserts that he hadn't tried yet, looking very eager to try. Leaving Yu Ning's sight range, Lin Yuan immediately took out his mobile phone and called Xiang Yang, excitedly said, let me tell you, classmate, you may still have a chance. Taking the elevator downstairs, Shu Yu didn't take today's dismissal matter to heart, or in other words, he was not surprised by today's event, he had experienced it as early as the previous life. And the reason why he let the incident happen again was only for Lu Onlin. He knew that Lu Onlin was in this shopping mall today, and he would see himself being fired. In the last life, since then, Lu Onlin had less contact with Xiang Yang and the group. Furthermore, a small men's clothing store is not a place for him to stay for a long time. The elevator reached the first floor, Shu Yu got out of the elevator, looked at the salary transferred to him by the store manager on the mobile phone, and left the building of the shopping center. Outside the Yunqian shopping center is a large square, opposite is a movie theater, not far away. Shu Yu arrived soon, he bought 2 tickets for tomorrow's movie. The protagonist of the movie is Lu Onlin's favorite actor. After buying the ticket, he turned to the chat interface with his boyfriend, thought for a while, and put the phone back in his pocket. Because he remembered that tomorrow is Xiang Yang's 20th birthday, Xiang Yang will definitely invite Yu Ning to participate within today. Before today, Yu Ning has not mentioned in front of him that there will be something tomorrow. Although he didn't see where Yu Ning was today, he noticed that Lin Yuan was following him. He guessed that Lu Onlin, who was also in the shopping mall in his last life, discovered Lin Yuan stalking. Lin Yuan should have said some bad things. Yuan Lan decided to fade out of their circle. He remembered very clearly that Yuan Lan didn't go to any party this Sunday in his previous life, but stayed with him to work all day. I don't know if Xiang Yang has invited his little boyfriend at this moment. Shu Yu put away the movie tickets, with a pleasant smile on the corner of his mouth. He was looking forward to Xiang Yang's appointment, because he was confident that his little boyfriend would cancel the promised party for him. The author has something to say. Classmate Xiao Yang is the typical kind of boy who used to be a brother, and waited until the brother was chasing others, or even being with others, until he was so sour that he didn't understand his own mind. The is reborn, the last life he said is not the same as the previous life of the original owner. You should be able to understand. At night, Yuning was lying on the big bed watching the latest comedy movie that the Black Cat played for him. This comedy movie has a strong lineup, but it's too stupid and brain dead, and the plot is chaotic, which doesn't fit Yuning's jokes at all. Yuning felt very boring. Fortunately, after a while, something interesting happened. He received a call from Xiang Yang. Before Yuning could speak, he heard the other side of the phone say, "Tomorrow is my birthday, this time I will not go to a messy place, go to my manor, and leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, don't forget." His tone was casual and familiar, but Yuning heard a sense of tension. Yuning asked the cat to turn off the movie, and the person on the other end of the phone didn't hear Yuning's voice for a while, and became even more nervous. Lin Yuan told him everything about the day. Even though Yuning was not angry, Xiang Yang still felt flustered. Speaking of Xiang Yang, he is Yuan Lan's good buddy who grew up together. This person does not live up to his name. He is a standard rich second-generation dandy, rebellious and domineering. He doesn't seem to have a bright spot of positive energy in his body. From elementary school to high school, he always causes trouble, and Yuan Lan has been implicated several times. Now that he's in college, he's also a restless master. He hasn't attended a few serious classes, and it's hard for anyone to persuade him, but there is one exception, and that is Yuan Lan. He only listened to Yuan Lan, even though he would quarrel occasionally and get impatient. His friends all said that Yuan Lan was Brother Yang's youngest daughter-in-law, and Brother Yang was a wife slave. This joke was played from junior high school to the winter of freshman year. When Yuan Lan heard it again, she no longer laughed it off like before, but seriously said that he was not. He and Xiang Yang were best friends. When Xiang Yang heard what he said, he was stunned for a few seconds, then he grabbed Yuan Lan's shoulder nonchalantly, and said with a smile that he was right. Everyone could see that Xiang Yang was forcing a smile, but Yuan Lan didn't notice it. It wasn't that Yuan Lan was too dull, it was just that Shu Yu had attracted all his thoughts, and he inevitably ignored other people. Not to mention Xiang Yang's mood, even the buddies around him were angry about him. Seeing Yuan Lan slandering Shu Yu in front of him, Yuan Lan, who is in love, will naturally protect his sweetheart, and the unhappiness will be more if he comes and goes. Yuan Lan felt that they were prejudiced against Shu Yu, and they thought Yuan Lan was a little heartless. In the previous life, after returning from the shopping mall, Lin Yuan consciously caused trouble for Xiang Yang and didn't want to make Yuan Lan unhappy again, so he didn't go to Xiang Yang's birthday party. But in the same way, Yuan Lan didn't go either. He was with Shu Yu and had known Xiang Yang for more than 10 years. For the first time, he didn't celebrate Xiang Yang's birthday. The phone was still very quiet, and Xiang Yang's palms holding the phone were soaked in sweat unknowingly. Lin Yuan called him and said that Shu Yu was fired today and went to the theater to pick up 2 movie tickets, most likely for a date with Lan tomorrow. In fact, he knew that Shu Yu was excellent, so excellent that he was impeccable. He is a good student, excellent grades, single-parent family. Every year, he has his share of the scholarship, and most of his vacation time is working to earn money. When the rich second generation were still getting used to asking for money, he had already learned to be self-reliant. He is a bit indifferent in character, but he is very polite to others, and will not make people think that he is too arrogant. He also has a good appearance, gentle manner, mature and calm, he does not smoke or fight, lives a self-disciplined life, and never fools around in chaotic places. He is the male in the hearts of many girls in school. Except for appearance, Xiang Yang has none of Shu Yu's advantages that attract Liu Anlin. He can't understand Shu Yu, and his friends can't understand Shu Yu because of acidity. They think that Shu Yu is superficial, because they can't find Shu Yu's exact shortcomings, so they can only evaluate him based on I think and I look like. But this does not mean that Xiang Yang will be reconciled to this. Lin Yuan also said that when Shu Yu was being made trouble today, her aunt was also in the shopping mall, so Inlan did not show up, which means that Shu Yu's height in Inlan's heart has not yet reached irreplaceable. Xiang Yang thought a lot, and was about to say if you're not free, just don't forget the gift in a nonchalant tone, but before he could finish his words, he heard the person on the other end of the phone talking. Yu Ning touched the little fluffy monster under his palm, and said in the same casual and familiar tone, "Okay. Is there anything you want in particular? I went shopping with my mother today and chose one for you. I don't know if you like or not." Xiang Yang didn't expect him to agree at all, and was stunned for a moment. Yu Ning called him several times before he responded, and then didn't give him a chance to repent, and hurriedly said, "You can give me anything. Then it's settled, yes. See you tomorrow." "Well, see you tomorrow." Xiang Yang hung up the phone, his chest pounding. He belatedly thought that Liu Anlin would agree so simply, it was very likely that Shu Yu hadn't mentioned it to him yet. At this moment, Xiang Yang thought very despicably, the movie tickets booked by Shu Yu and the free time tomorrow may be for another person. Because he has no confidence, if Shu Yu asks Liu Anlin again later, how will Liu Anlin choose? But, he can also make Liu Anlin have no choice. Xiang Yang immediately jumped up from the bed, he turned off all his mobile phones, and all the games he had hung up were offline, and then he came out of the house like a psychopath, and drove to the villa farthest from Lu's house in City A to live in guarantee neither could be found. However, when he arrived, he became entangled again. What if his family in and came to him urgently? What if his Anan accidentally watched a ghost movie at night and wanted to call him? So, Xiang Yang spent the whole night with his mobile phone on and off. "Want to see what your idiot is doing?" Yu Ning said to Liu Anlin in the ring after hanging up Xiang Yang's phone. Liu Anlin was still hesitating, but saw Yu Ning pushing the cat's ears back into airplane ears with both hands, and the black cat's blue eyes widened. At the same time, the image of Xiang Yang appeared in the room out of thin air. "Liu Anlin?" "Yes," Yu Ning just asked casually, he didn't care about Liu Anlin's answer, he just wanted to see him. Yu Ning couldn't help laughing at Xiang Yang's stupid look, that guy ran so fast that he almost fell on his own carpet. This is much better than the garbage movie with inflated box office just now, it is real and natural. Yu Ning was enjoying watching, the phone vibrated, it was the message from Shu Yu. "Is a text message. Xiaoan, are you free tomorrow? Movie ticket I didn't have time to accompany you before, so go to the movies tomorrow? I bought the game in the afternoon, and I can accompany you to the amusement park or video game city in the morning." Yu Ning swiped at the phone screen, thinking, text messages are so convenient, they can perfectly hide any tone. He unlocked the lock screen and replied. "Sorry senior, Xiang Yang has already asked me to attend his birthday party tomorrow." /grievance senior, how is the day after tomorrow? Shu Yu looked at Yu Ning's reply, and was not surprised by his refusal. He edited the text in a leisurely manner, "I don't have time the day after tomorrow, the student union has something to do, I have to go back to school. Anne, I miss you very much." Yu Ning smiled directly at the last sentence, "Yes, I really want to, I don't even want to make a phone call." Yu Ning pretended to be entangled and hesitated before making a decision, and returned to him after a while, "I'm sorry senior, there can be many dates, but Xiang Yang only has one time in his life when he is 20 years old. It would be good if the senior grew up together. I will also agree to my friend's birthday. Shu Yu looked at this text and sneered. Is this mocking him for having no friends? In the last life, Lu Onlin loved him so much that she couldn't help it, and Shu Yu didn't think about good friends are more important than me, but Xiang Yang shamelessly prevented Yuning from doing multiple choice questions. From a certain point of view, he guessed right. But he was full of confidence before, but now he was slapped in the face, which still made Shu Yu extremely unhappy. However, his image in front of people will not say the words that directly make Yuning cancel the original party and come to accompany him. Shu Yu had no choice but to reply generously to Yuning that it's okay, and said good night. After turning off the phone, Shu Yu frowned. He was full of confidence before, not because of arrogance, but because of Lu Onlin's performance in the previous life. Why Lu Onlin hasn't fallen out with Xiang Yang and the group in this life, but the relationship is as good as ever? What went wrong? Here Yuning had just finished chatting with Shu Yu's hypocritical text, his cat ears moved, and he said suddenly, Master, the principal said that it was your first time to go out, and he sent an angel to assist. Union. The new devil's deal is extremely cold. As far as he knows, he is currently making the deal alone. Do you need assistance? Or is it for supervision? Moreover, if it was an angel who came. He had an ominous premonition. The author has something to say. That's right, that's the attack. By the way, why did Union make a deal that other demons are not interested in? There are 3 reasons. Firstly, being asked to sleep by many devils and angels every day is really annoying and boring. He needs something new to adjust his life. Secondly, he just graduated from college, and a teacher he respected introduced him to try new. There may be unexpected gains in the devil's deal. The third is that he slept with the professor who came to their college to give lectures. The professor is an archangel who was solemnly welcomed in by the college not long ago. It is said that he is quite an old angel, as if he is tens of thousands of years old. However, the face of his true self is actually not old at all. On the contrary, he is surprisingly handsome. To what extent? For example, after seeing this professor for the first time, Yuning also had a strong sleepiness for the first time in his succubus career. But fortunately, after Yuning met the archangel's eyes, they communicated with each other very tacitly, spent a night together. Are you free tonight? Very good. The archangel, who looked aloof was particularly duplicity, which saved Yuning a lot of trouble. That night, Yuning had a good sleep. Afterwards, Yuning said that such a life is indeed what the succubus should enjoy. He actually didn't feel that he was so different among the succubus, he just didn't meet someone who was right for him before. In the final analysis, it is picky eaters. But one thing, good and bad are often accompanied together. Early the next morning, Yuning woke up in bed and was pressed down by the great heaven with holy wings, and was proposed, "You are beautiful, sweet, and I like it very much. I want you, sign a contract with me?" Yuning immediately rolled his eyes very bluntly, not knowing what to say first. Is it really an old antique over 10,000 years old? What a ghost contract! There are no such lines in idol dramas now, okay? Also, my friend, can you figure out who you are confessing to? As a succubus, I only understand but not love. Is it okay to talk about love with a succubus? The most important point is, how many times do I have to say that? I don't need anyone to praise me. Labor and management know it themselves. So Yuning acted on the spot and turned his face and refused to recognize anyone when he lifted his pants, and cursed very bluntly, "What a psycho!" All good moods were ruined. But that's not all. The professor's lectures were held for 2 days in a row. This archangel has a high reputation, and it is impossible for serious academic masters to miss it. Yuning's academic master character design does not allow him to confess his love for no reason in the morning. That psychopath stopped listening. So Yuning, who was sitting below, was forced to accept the special attention of the Professor Archangel. In fact, special attention seems to be almost non-existent in the eyes of others. After all, the Archangel has a calm expression from beginning to end, and occasionally glances at the students below, and it will not exceed a second, as if those blue eyes were born without deliberately staying for someone, seems ruthless and almost ruthless. But Yuning could read the emotion that the person brought when his gaze swept over him, and the translation probably meant, "Oh, scumbag, we meet again," which made the little succubus very painful. But Yuning thought about it again. Hey, this guy is tens of thousands of years old, doesn't he know that their succubus is not responsible for sleeping? Yuning narrowed his eyes slightly. Could it be that the professor is playing a novel routine with him? Want to go a different route than those other beggars? He still wants to come one more night? Yuning recalled the feeling for a while. Well, it's not really impossible. The professor in the lecture hall soon received ambiguous eyes from the little succubus. Professor! He was seducing me again. So Yuning slept well that night. He ate very full for 2 nights, and he didn't want to listen to the Archangel's domineering president's after-the-fact testimonials for the time being. Let's talk about it later when he is hungry. So the next morning when he woke up from the strong arms of the Archangel, Yuning ran away without saying hello. He left immediately. Naturally, he didn't know how a certain angry professor scared the headmaster of their Y01 Hell Academy after he left. He had already graduated, but he was forced to care about the whereabouts of the students after graduation. Principal, bald.jpg anyway. Yuning got up early the next morning. They were all young people, and the birthday party was to have fun with a few xiang yang, so Yuning dressed more casually. But Mother Dear saw him, thought he was on a date, and sprayed him with men's perfume. The perfume is the booty of Mother Dear yesterday. This perfume is fresh and lively, and she thinks it goes well with Union. Xianjiang's manor was left to him by his mother. It was in the outskirts of the city, and it took about 2 hours for Yuning to get there from home. The Xiang family is one of the top wealthy families in China. Compared to the Lu family, it can only be regarded as an ordinary wealthy family. The Xiang family is rich, but the family relationship fully proves the statement that there are many right and wrong among rich and powerful families. Xianjiang's father was young and fashionable with a sense of enterprise and family responsibility. In his middle age, he felt that he had built a business empire and should be like an emperor, so he began to raise young lovers everywhere. But Xianjiang's mother is not a soft persimmon. Ever since she realized that her husband had changed his mind and gave birth to Xiang Yang, she asked someone to perform a ligation operation on her husband. It is conceivable that the daily life of the couple will be in dire straits. But later, when Xiang Yang was 12 years old, his mother died of liver cancer. At that time, the couple had already divorced, and Xianjiang's mother left all her inheritance to her son, ensuring that he would have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of his life. Since then, Xiang Yang has embarked on a rebellious path, and there is no turning back in recent years. When Yuning arrived, Lin Yuan and the others also arrived. When Lin Yuan saw his car, he was slightly surprised, but after the accident, he frequently winked at Xiang Yang. Xiang Yang pretended not to see, and went to meet Yuning. Yuning took the gift from the co-pilot and got out of the car. He was taken aback by Xiang Yang's dark circles, and joked, "What's the matter? It's not a child. It's my birthday and I'm so excited that I can't sleep, hey? Little friend Xiao Yang." The boys in the back hooked their shoulders together and let out a muffled laugh. Xiang Yang bared his teeth for a while, thinking to himself that I am all because of someone. He stepped forward to take the gift from Yuning's hand. The gift box was not small, and someone asked what it was for. He was trying to make them shut up, but he heard Yuning answer, "The clothes I chose for Xiang Yang when I went shopping with my mother yesterday." There was a burst of ouch in the crowd. Someone beeped softly, "Oh? What do you think Xiaolu is doing? My girlfriend and my mother only give me clothes on my birthday." So he is now. The one next to him shrugged and said, who knows? Brother Yang is happy. That's right, didn't you see that the corners of Brother Yang's mouth were almost grinning to the base of his ears? Zhangjiang's manor is very large, with orchards, ponds, vegetable fields and a small horse farm. A group of people had a great time. In the afternoon, they used fresh vegetables and fish they caught for barbecue. Obviously there is a chef in the garden, but a group of young masters insist on coming by themselves. The result is either black and smoky or red on the outside, raw, and each of them can only admit that they really have not lit up their cooking skills, and eat the chef honestly made. After autumn, the sky began to get dark early, and after dinner, a group of big boys were lying on their sofas and carpets, very casually. Single dogs form groups to fight against each other, and those who have girlfriends and boyfriends start to hack like no one else, trying to bring crit to others. There were a few others playing cards together, one or two sneered at the corners of their mouths, thinking that the god of gamblers possessed a very suspenseful expression, but in fact they were very silly. And Yuning sorted out the photos during the day and posted them on Moments, and Xiang Yang was the first to give him a thumbs up. After 9 o'clock, this group of lazy guys regained their spirits, started playing games, and drank when they lost. Yuning doesn't like to smell of alcohol all over his body, and he hasn't lost even after several rounds. On the other hand, Xiang Yang, he seemed to be in such a good mood today, he drank it no matter if he won or lost, and at the end of the game, he lay down without any surprise. Seeing that today's protagonists are all lying down, the boys are ready to go back to their respective homes. Some drivers who drive to drink, and some drivers in the manor will send them back. In the end, only Yuning and Lin Yuan are left. Lin Yuan didn't drink much, but he looked like he was drifting away, and said to Yuning, it's okay, then, Brother Yang will leave it to you, I'll go back first. Yuning pretended not to notice, nodded, then you should be careful on the road. Lin Yuan waved his hand, it's all right, there's a driver, I'll send you a WeChat message when we arrive. Let's go. After finishing speaking, he sneaked a glance at the drunk Xiang Yang, and expressed, I'll help you if you can. Come on, sincere brotherhood. Of course there were people invited in the manor, but except for the few drivers who had already left, there were no men in the villa. I don't know if this was planned by Xiang Yang long ago, or it was a pure coincidence. But judging from the fact that so many people didn't help Xiang Yang into the room just now, the former is very likely. After looking around, Yuning helped Xiang Yang up with his own hands, and walked upstairs to the bedroom. After all, Xiang Yang didn't have the embarrassment to put all his weight on Yuning's body like mud, but took a deep breath of the sweet perfume on Yuning's body. He was about to wake up like this, but unexpectedly, Yuning's feet staggered slightly, his lips then brushed against Yuning's earlobe. Soft and delicate, white and tender. Xiang Yang almost had a nosebleed on the spot, and distanced himself from Yuning in a jerk. Facing Yuning's simple and doubtful eyes, his body reacted uncontrollably. He hurriedly took a few steps up the stairs, covering his mouth, arching her body and turning her back to Yuning. She said, Anan, don't come here, I'm going to vomit. Then what? You go back first, be careful on the road. Yuning looked at him worriedly, and asked, should I buy you some medicine? Just drink to have fun, too much will hurt your health. No, just finish vomiting, it's getting late, don't worry uncles and aunts. Okay then, I'll ask my aunt to cook you a hangover soup, and you can drink it later and go to bed early. Yuning stopped looking at him, turned and went downstairs. Xiang Yang breathed a sigh of relief, and then went back to the room with a flushed face and locked the door. He listened to the sound of the engine downstairs, the scent still lingered on the tip of his nose, and the touch of the pink earlobe remained on his lips. He couldn't help stretching his hand down, and said in full of affection and desire. Shout out! Yuning didn't drink at night, he drove by himself, it was getting late, and there was little traffic on the suburban roads. Probably because there were few cars, a car with high beam headlights was oncoming, which made Yuning's eyes very uncomfortable. When the car passed by him, his cat jumped onto the car with a posture and speed that was definitely not a normal cat, and lay firmly on the roof of the car. One look at the owner of that car and nothing good will happen next. Yuning continued to drive without looking back. "Oh, I told you to turn on the high beam when you are so close. Lu Onlin. Creatures like demons really must take revenge." Although she knew that the demon was not in a very good mood at the moment, Lu Onlin couldn't help but want to ask, "Xiang Yang, why did you like him? What kind of him? Tease him?" After understanding what Lu Onlin meant, Yuning didn't understand why Lu Onlin asked, and said strangely, "You humans, usually the quickest revenge on your boyfriend is to give him a cuckold." Shu Yu, who had no idea that he was about to have a cuckold, looked at pictures of bright smiles in Yuning's circle of friends, pinching the phone so hard that his knuckles turned white. If Yuning's rejection yesterday just made him feel strange, seeing these photos today, Shu Yu was sure that something went wrong. But he might not be able to figure out the answer in a short period of time. The author has something to say. In the early morning after the second X, I listened to my friend's advice not to follow the route of the overlord and pretend to sleep, waiting to be woken up by the little succubus kiss. Later, friends died. On Monday, Yuning went back to school. At noon, like last week, he went to find Shu Yu for dinner on time. After Shu Yu finished class in the morning, she has been busy with the affairs of the student union. This week and weekend, the student union is going to do research on the tourist attractions in the north city of City A. It is said to be a survey, but it is also a 2-day, 1-night travel activity. It is not a particularly luxurious kind, but a poor travel mode common to modern college students. The entire tour can only cost 1 to 200 yuan per person. When Yuning came to see Shu Yu, he just heard a little bit, his eyes were full of expectation. He tugged at the corner of Shu Yu's clothes, and whispered, "Senior, I want to go too, I want to go with you, is that okay?" All the seniors and sisters in the student union knew about the relationship between him and Shu Yu, and it was lunch time. One and the other stopped what they were doing, and stared at them gossipingly. The seniors were all mesmerized by Yuning's little tricks, and when the girls got together, the eyes that burst out were simply terrifying. The seniors thought they were promoting the relationship between the two of them, and teased, "Xiaolu, I heard that you went to your friend's birthday last weekend and had a good time? You don't know how perverted God Shu is after returning to school yesterday, yo, that's sour." "That's right. I said Shu Yu, Xiao Lu even offered to go on a trip with you, so don't make a fool of yourself." Yuning was embarrassed by what they said, blushed, and looked at Shu Yu more expectantly. Shu Yu's frowning brows loosened, and he sighed, as if he couldn't hold back his smile at last, rubbed Yuning's hair, and said, "Okay then." Yuning hooked Shu Yu's fingers, bowed his head and blushed his ears, and still whispered, "Thank you, senior." Hey, so obedient. The seniors can't control the prehistoric power in their bodies, and Ruan Meng is attacked by X's high cold student, which is too delicious for CP. "What did you say?" "He wants to take part in that ghost tour with Shu Yu." During the 2 days of his birthday, Xiang Yang was so happy that he couldn't find Bei. He didn't expect to hear such news as soon as he returned to school. It was no different from a bolt from the blue. The scary thing is that Lin Yuan continued to say, "It's not enough, people's activities are still 2 days and 1 night, and they plan to rent a tent at night, 2 people alone." Slap! The chopsticks in Xiang Yang's hand were broken violently. "Did you find out where they were going?" Lin Yuan was typing on his mobile phone, and after a while, he returned to Xiang Yang. "I found out, it's going to the mountain in Baikan." Don't think about it, that guy Shu Yu will definitely not take you." "Tch." Xiang Yang sneered, "The tourist area doesn't belong to his family, can't I go there this weekend?" Lin Yuan let out a huh and gave Xiang Yang a thumbs up. He didn't turn the corner just now. Why did he have to go with the group of students from the student union? They can do it themselves. Yes, Shu Yu and the others are playing poor, we will be rich. As soon as Lin Yuan made up his mind, he clicked on the friend group and started calling. After all, if he and Xiang Yang are the only ones to go, the purpose is too strong, and if two big men go on a trip together, they might be misunderstood. He is a really straight man, and he will marry a goddess in the future. There was no Lu Onlin in the group that Lin Yuan ordered, so Yuning didn't know what Xiang Yang and the others were planning. But whether he knew it or not, it didn't matter to him. Yuning had no classes in the afternoon, and Shu Yu didn't have much to do. They didn't choose the third canteen, which was the closest, but planned to go to the second canteen. On the way to go, you will pass through a ginkgo forest. The ginkgo trees in autumn are not all yellow, and some still have green leaves, but the ground is still covered with a golden layer, and it rustles when stepped on. In addition to the lovers of University A who like to walk here, there are also some stray cats who like to go here. The pressure of studying is high, so coming here from time to time to feed them, and taking the opportunity to let the cats down is also a good way to relieve stress, so the school did not drive these cats out, and set up some special food bowls and cat rooms. Everyone calls it the Cat Grove. I heard that when recruiting students, the school also advertised this place as a special feature, and there are actually quite a few students who chose University A between the two vacillating schools because of this reason. Originally, Yuning was just passing by with Shu Yu, but suddenly remembered the introduction of a senior from Lu Onlin's memories, so he slowed down and looked at the cats in the school who were no longer afraid of strangers. A milk cat, furry and ugly, a flower raccoon, is that covered in chewing gum? And that grey-haired one, why does it look like a thief? Does this mean to be called cute? Snort. None of them look better than my cats. Ah! Let me show you what is the best looking and cutest cat. With Yuning's thought, a cat appeared behind a nearby ginkgo tree. Its fur is shiny, its blue eyes are like precious gems, its round face is slightly raised, its steps are elegant, very noble. With its figure alone, it doesn't look like a stray cat that settled in the woods. Instead, it looks like a cat raised by a noble family. After the owner dies, the cat may inherit the inheritance. The cats in the woods who were waiting to be fed by humans passing by nearby saw the appearance of this one, and fled away with meow meow meow. Damn! Scared me. Mom! What happened to these cats? Wow! Where did the cat come from? It's so beautiful. Ah! I really want to touch it. Ouch, those little eyes! I can't do it anymore. I want to take a picture. People who had never walked this forest were attracted by this black cat. Seeing those idiot-like eyes of human beings, little Demon Yu showed his satisfaction, and waved to the black cat. The round body of the black cat stiffened invisibly for a moment, then trotted a few steps, moved close to Yuning's calf, and rubbed it unnaturally twice. Yuning knelt down and touched it, seeing the cat's eyes in surprise. It's been a day since he disappeared, what happened to his cat? She only rubbed against him twice. Just as Yuning was feeling strange, the black cat rubbed him affectionately again, raised its jeweled eyes, and called out meow. Well, it's his cat. He hugged the cat into his arms and said to Shu Yu, Senior, this cat may have been lost by someone, why don't we go find its owner? Shu Yu frowned instinctively, and said, let's hand it over to the guard's room first, and then post a post on the school forum to ask the owner to go to the guard's room to claim it. After he finished speaking, he added, the main thing is that we don't know whether this is raised by someone else. If it is a wild cat, it is still very dangerous if it is not vaccinated. It may have fleas on it who are not ticklish. Let's find a cat. Put it in something. Yuning didn't answer right away, but hugged the cat and kept pawing. It looked like he was reluctant to take the opportunity to touch it for a while. He raised his wet eyes and said coquettishly, "But senior, I still want to hug its son." Shu Yu felt annoyed, and subconsciously glanced at the cat, but unexpectedly met its eyes. The cat looked at him expressionlessly, its blue eyes seemed to be staring at a dead object, which made him shiver for no reason. He couldn't hide the impatience on his face anymore, and said to Yuning angrily, "Well, you can figure it out yourself. I'm still busy in the afternoon, so I won't accompany you in the game of finding the owner of the pet." Yuning's eyes widened slightly, with an expression of disbelief. "Senior, you said?" Unexpectedly, Shu Yu left before he finished speaking. The people nearby who had been watching the cat became watching the two of them. Seeing that the legendary perfect school bully Schoolgrass suddenly lost his temper because of a cat, and even left his companions and left directly, it was a bit inconceivable. And those boys who have been complaining about this handsome man who has good grades and is easy to be praised by girls have also opened up posts, ready to black him. Yuning pretended to be depressed for a while in the sight of the crowd, and left sadly with the cat in his arms. As soon as he got to a place where no one was around, he bent the corners of his mouth, vigorously rubbed the cat's head, and praised it, "Beautiful job, cat." After separating from Yuning, Shu Yu went to the cafeteria alone, sat on a chair with the food, and pinched the space between his eyebrows a little tiredly. "What's wrong with me? How can you be so restless? Isn't it just a misjudgment? Isn't it just that Xiang Yang had another birthday happily? Isn't it just a cat? The most important thing now is to make Lu Onlin's feelings for me deeper. How could it be the other way around? May I apologize?" Shu Yu thought for a few minutes, and the food became warm before sending a few messages to Yuning. Said that he was too tired and stressed these 2 days, and it was his fault to lose his temper at him. The reply he got was that his little boyfriend didn't take it seriously, and he had already gone to help the cat find an owner. Shu Yu sneered, "He really is carefree, others are trying to survive, but you can live so innocently." In the evening, after taking a shower, Yuning picked up the ring on the mirror. Today's Lu Onlin was uncharacteristically, she didn't look away, but looked at Yuning, and begged, "This weekend, go with that person, can you rent a tent with him?" Yuning raised his eyebrows and replied to him, "I is now in a relationship with him as a boyfriend, wouldn't it be strange not to live together?" "No." Lu Onlin gritted his teeth, closed his eyes and said, I don't want to live with him, disgusting." Seeing Lu Onlin's expression, as a succubus, Yuning reacted instantly. He put the ring on his hand, smiled, and said, "Don't worry. For privacy protection, Lu Onlin's memory, in that respect, Yuning still didn't see it. Of course, if he wanted to see it, he would still be able to see it. But when he is a succubus, it is too low to watch human beings have fun or learn something. And he doesn't have the perverted hobby of prying into other people's privacy." At the same time, the black cat sleeping on Yuning's big bed suddenly opened its eyes, and its round eyes narrowed into dangerous thin lines. What did he just say, boyfriend? What, live together? The author has something to say, friend who cheats on corpses, brother DEI, don't say that you are not kind. I found out that the little succubus likes little fluffy monsters. After contemplating, Gong put up with the humiliation for chasing his wife. Okay. Friend who is about to die again, why do I have an ominous premonition? Baikan of City A is a new tourism development zone, and the center is the Xianhe mountain that surrounds Baikan. There are forests, lakes, and waterfalls on that mountain. The environment is quiet, and there are wild cranes inhabiting it all year round. There is a century-old Taoist temple on the mountainside, and the name of the temple is called Xianhe Temple. The location of the Taoist temple is surrounded by smog all year round, and it really looks like a fairy mountain and fairy temple. The older generation likes to go up the mountain to worship the true king and ask for a talisman, while the younger generation goes up the mountain for the glass plank road on the other side of the mountain, some exciting extreme sports, and watching the beautiful sunrise with the people they like on the top of the mountain. This time the student union organized this poor tour, because they must have no money to play those game projects. Their theme this time is religion, mainly to go to Taoist temples, and then they will go to experience the glass plank road and the sunrise on the mountain top for free. Yuning followed Shu Yu and went to the foot of Xianhe mountain with the seniors from the student union. One of the seniors pushed her glasses and carefully calculated the itinerary. Except for Yunjing Waterfall and Xianhe Lake, there is no need for other places. Tickets, there is a car up the mountain, 2 yuan per person, let's take the car to the Taoist temple first. Another said, this weekend, there are a lot of people here, and there are a lot of cars. Why don't we climb up? The Taoist temple is only halfway up the mountain. It shouldn't be too far away. I don't know, I've never been here before. Indeed, they came here by bus from school, and they had already missed the time when the traffic flow was the least. It was already past 10 o'clock, and there was a large traffic jam at the foot of the mountain. Finally, the group discussed climbing for a while, but the car at the bottom of the mountain did not come up at this time, and the car behind came, and they could still take it. After all, the scenery on the road is also very beautiful. Yuning came here with an airbag on his back, and from the outside, he could see the face of a black cat who had nothing to love. It is very easy to misunderstand that its stupid shovel officer insisted on taking it out. However, in fact, Yunyan was planning to go out, but his cat suddenly appeared, barking very sticky, with a big round face full of desire for an autumn outing with the owner, and Yunyan took it with him. Mother Deer saw it and asked him when he secretly raised a cat. As for Shu Yu's eyes twitching stiffly when he saw the cat, that's not important. There is no way, there is no comparison between Shu Yu and his fluffy pets. Just talking about the expression on the face of the black cat is easy to misunderstand. A senior sister walking behind Yuning said, Xiaolu, your cat doesn't seem very happy? Does it feel too bored? Why don't you take it out for some fresh air? Yeah. If you get tired of holding it, we can help you. The latter sentence is your purpose. Yuning didn't believe that his cat would be unhappy. After all, this guy begged him to take it out, and he wasn't a real cat. How could he feel bored being carried in a bag? And the point is, he was carrying it. He carried it himself. It is very restrained if it is not so excited that it becomes its original size, okay? But he is a generous demon, especially when he saw the eager faces of these humans. He took the cat out and let them pet it twice. Cat. The cat didn't speak, just stared at Yunyan quietly under the human's salty pig. Yuning. Why does this kind of look at a scumbag look so familiar? They were lucky, although the distance from the foot of the mountain to the middle of the mountain was much longer than they had planned, but fortunately the car stuck at the bottom of the mountain finally came up, and they got on the car halfway. Otherwise, I don't know how long it will take for them to come up by themselves. I heard that worshipping gods at the Crane Temple is very spiritual. Once outside the Crane Temple, the senior sister wearing glasses was very eager to try, especially the marriage. Yuning thought that other people, at least those boys, would scoff at this, but who knew that after they heard it, they immediately said that they would go to worship God first. Being single for a long time is really. Although Yuning is not single now, everyone pushed him to Shu Yu and asked him to worship with Shu Yu. There were not too many people in the temple, but there happened to be a few uncles and aunts who were waiting to worship Zhenjun. Yuning and Shu Yu waited for a while before entering. When kneeling on the futon, Yuning glanced at Shu Yu from the corner of his eye. Shu Yu didn't talk much along the way, and the others had already gotten used to it, and only talked about Yuning. But Shu Yu is not the kind who will make people feel cold. Although he doesn't talk much, he will look like he is listening to you carefully, so that people will not think that he is impolite or too cold. Just like at this moment, he just said nothing about worshipping God, but now he is kneeling on the futon but his back is straight, his posture of bowing and kowtowing is very standard, his expression and eyes are very pious, without any perfunctory. It seemed that although he didn't say it, he silently remembered the senior sister's words that the marriage was very good, and he was earnestly praying to the gods to give him the blessing of this relationship. He really knows how to people, and he seems to be very addicted to it. After worshipping God, Yuning complained to Lu Onlin in the bathroom, "I kind of understand how you fell so badly before. Even if you have, but everyone else said that he was too good to be faulted, and you would give up your doubts. Such a person is really..." Yuning wasn't the only one in the bathroom. Lu Onlin didn't dare to speak, but she still answered yes silently in her heart. If not, he wouldn't be so incredible when he discovered Shu Yu's true face. The corner of Yuning's mouth raised an evil smile. "Ha, if you like the character so much, then I will help him and let him keep the character for the rest of his life." Lu Onlin? "Oh, by the way," Yuning said again suddenly, "do you know what I prayed for when I worshipped God just now?" Lu Onlin was still thinking about the meaning of Yuning's last sentence of maintaining a human figure for the rest of his life, but after getting along with each other these days, he also roughly understood the temper of this demon, so he asked along the way, "What did you ask for?" Yuning smiled even more wickedly, and the two horns on the top of his head almost popped out. "What I want is that in the next life, even if Shu Yu has a small penis, he will not be able to get hard." Lu Onlin. "Brother Yang," they went to the waterfall. Lin Yuan shook the phone in his hand. "Money can turn ghosts around. I have to say that he often sighs. Fortunately, his father gave birth to him well." "No, it's so convenient." Xiang Yang nodded, indicating that he understood. "It's a pity, just because of the money, there happened to be one in the group who is the son of the boss of this tourism development zone. When it opened, he invited good buddies in the group to play with him. Except for a few who were not interested and had no time, they all joined in." Pass. Now that Xiang Yang and the others yell again, it's hard to just say that it's to be a light bulb if they say it. Maybe this group of people will make a fuss, and it's not worth the loss if they make Lu Onlin angry, and the part that's not interested is still not interested interest, so Xiang Yang and the others only recruited one teammate. Still a girl. This girl is Xianjiang's cousin, his aunt's daughter, named Xiaokongzin, and her relationship with Xiang Yang is just so-so. But one time she came to Xianjiang's birthday, and she became good friends with Lu Onlin instead. In Xiaokongzin's words, they were best friends, although Lu Onlin was not at all like some little Ling who was such a bitch. "Brother, you are really..." Xiaokongzin held his forehead, looking down on her brother's behavior. She also met Lu Onlin's boyfriend. To be honest, they are a good match, and her brother is just trying to poach him. Xiang Yang gave her a look of every kid knows a lot of shit. "If I had known you were here to do this, I wouldn't have come." Xiaokongzin rolled her eyes. "You said you are working so hard now, why did you go so early?" Mentioning this, Xiang Yang felt pain, and roared, "I didn't know I liked him." Xiaokongzin was taken aback suddenly. Lin Yuan comforted her, "Don't mention this, don't mention this, he will blow up if you mention it. After all, it is not easy to admit that I am a fool." Alas, Xiaokongzin sighed, seeing how pitiful her brother is, she should cooperate and be cannon fodder. When the three of Xiang Yang finally ran into Yuning and his group, Yuning and Shu Yu were walking behind the crowd, and Yuning was blinking those two beautiful eyes, asking Shu Yu, "Senior, when you prayed for God just now what?" Shu Yu glanced at Xiang Yang from the corner of his eyes, the corners of his lips were slightly curved, it was a gentle smile, he put his index finger on his lips, and gave a light shh, "I can't say it, it won't work if I say it." After finishing speaking, he bent his index finger, scratched Yuning's nose. "Yuning has a little emotion, if the senior doesn't tell me, then I won't tell the senior either." Shu Yu seemed to be amused by his childish remarks, rubbed his hair, and said dotingly, "Okay then." When Yuning saw his smile, he laughed too, his face was reddish. Without him needing to say it, anyone could see that what he just prayed to God must be related to Shu Yu. Seeing the young couple flirting, Xiaokongzin couldn't help sighing, dog abuse. After sighing, she remembered her brother, and when she looked back, yes, it was so sour that she was abusing her heart and body. Xiaokongzin, as a younger sister, couldn't bear to suggest, "Brother, why don't you hold your heart? It hurts to look at it." She didn't know what her brother wanted to be abused. The author has something to say, Gong, cat, let him take you. After the cat acted cute and coquettishly, it succeeded. Attack, dislike.jpg cat. Cat, meow, you can do it, you can do it. There are still people who are more unbearable than Xiang Yang. Just when Yuning and Shu Yu looked at each other and smiled, a certain cat couldn't bear it anymore and howled, and the already fragile pink bubbles around the two of them burst into pieces. Only now did Xiaokongzin have a chance to intervene between the two of them. She gave a low wow, pretending not to recognize Yuning from her back, and whispered to Xiang Yang next to her, "What a beautiful black cat, I want to raise a cat too already." Xiang Yang was so sour. "Oh, what's the matter? You can choose one when you go back tomorrow, you can choose any variety, I will get it for you." The information he inquired was that the black cat was picked up by Yuning and Shu Yu together. Two men picked up a small animal together and raised it. What is the difference between adopting a child? Especially since Yuning still likes that cat so much, he has to take it with him when he goes out to play. If the cat knew what was going on in Xianjiang's mind, Xiang Yang would probably be dead. Yuning just pretended to find them, and turned around in surprise. "Xia Xia? And Xiang Yang Lin Yuan? Why are you here?" The student union asked. "Xiaolu, do you know me?" Yuning nodded and introduced to everyone. Needless to say, the two of Xiang Yang, who are well known in the school for their ignorant grades, but who managed to get into University A because their family donated several teaching buildings. Senior sisters don't have very good feelings towards Xiang Yang, but Xiaokongzin is different. The real Bai Fumei doesn't have the temperament of a young lady, she is very temperamental, and very talkative. The seniors prayed to God for marriage. How can such a good opportunity be missed? So, relying on his little cousin, Xiang Yang successfully walked with Yuning. Xiaokongzin heard that they traveled poorly, found it very interesting, and wanted to join. Not only did the seniors not feel disgusted or looked down on her when they heard her, they also said that she was interesting and had a better impression of her, so they agreed without saying a word. Just like that, Xiaokongzin held Yuning's arm the whole time, and played happily all afternoon, successfully preventing Yuning and Shu Yu from getting bored. "I just want to see the school girls who sell rot and sit and wait for candy to see Xiaokongzin look like the White Lotus female partner in the BL novel, and I especially want people to fork her out." Xiaokongzin's light bulb can be said to be very competent. On the other hand, Xiang Yang and Xiang Yang are basically no different from invisible people. "Xiang and Lin, it smells so good, my cousin is a top 10. Before it gets dark in the afternoon, a group of people have to rush to the top of the mountain. There is a very spacious area on the top of the mountain. It is an excellent place for stargazing, admiring the sea of clouds, and watching the sunset and sunrise. There is also a hotel near the top of the mountain, built on the edge of the cliff, which guarantees a different experience for tourists. The size of the hotel is not small, it is beautifully built, and the consumer price list inside is also very beautiful. When the seniors and sisters passed by, they would inevitably be attracted, but at most they just sighed and planned to continue walking to the top of the mountain. Looking at the hotel, Xiang Yang asked Yuning casually, "Anan, Kong Xin, are you hungry and tired too? Why don't you just rest here? Seniors and seniors, I invite you to stay here for a while. In the evening, this hotel will provide dinner, I heard it tastes good." The tone of his speech was not ironic, but quite sincere. The whole group hesitated a little, and two of the seniors even let out a low voice. Most of them are ordinary families. If they want to stay in this kind of place for one night, although they can afford the money, they are reluctant. Now a rich junior invites them. Honestly speaking, this kind of opportunity is not very common. Before Yuning could ask Shu Yu, Xiaokengzhen put on a tired look and said, "Don't tell me, I don't feel hungry. Lan, let's go." "Sisters, I read the strategy before I came, and said that this hotel there is also a spa. After dinner, I will take you there." The favorability of the seniors for this young lady suddenly soared. "Senior sisters and seniors, this. I'm sorry. Saying so, it's actually close to a promise." Xiang Yang beamed with joy, and couldn't help but smile provocatively at Shu Yu. Yuning secretly laughed that this big fool didn't know how to hide his emotions at all, so he asked Shu Yu with some anticipation, "Senior, let's go together? I'm actually a little hungry." Shu Yu didn't listen to what Yuning was saying at all. Although Xiang Yang's actions were childish, they really stimulated Shu Yu, and he directly refused, "No." Yuning opened his mouth half open, as if he wanted to say something, but finally gave up, and changed his words, "Okay then, listen to the senior." Several seniors and sisters looked at me and I looked at you, and finally they could only say, "Let's forget it, we'd better go up there. Thank you for your kindness, bye." This time Shu Yu couldn't cover everything. Obviously his classmates wanted to stay in a hotel, but he directly refused, so they could only follow suit, not to say that they were angry, but there must be some unhappiness. And Yuning even said that he was hungry, but he refused so indifferently, as if he wasn't the one who doted on him during the day, which made people doubt their private relationship. Watching Yuning and his group continue to walk towards the top of the mountain, it was Xiang Yang's turn to be dumbfounded. Xiaokengzhen was exhausted physically and mentally immediately. "I said, brother, are you in kindergarten? It's okay now, Anan may still sleep in a tent with him in the end." This MVP of the audience questioned the soul of the crippled man who was killed in the end. Now that they have mentioned how good the hotel is, they look too tired to leave again, and they can't follow up with shame, which is no different from directly exposing the purpose of their trip. Xiang Yang was devastated. "Don't you say that it's embarrassing for you to do this?" Xiaokengzhen frowned. "I just observed today, and I feel that Shu Yu doesn't seem to be as good as what Anan said." Xiang Yang looked towards her, and she explained, "Don't talk about the distance, just now, Anan said that he was hungry, but Shu Yu didn't say to buy you food or anything else, so he just refused. He doesn't want to eat at the rival's meal. It's understandable to stay in the hotel booked by the rival, but Anan thinks, if she feels particularly distressed, she can pay for it herself to make her lover happy if she doesn't want to use the rival's money. Although this hotel is a bit expensive, it's still affordable to book 2 cheap meals in 1 standard room. And Anan can't really bear the heart of her boyfriend eating dirt for a month for his temporary comfort. So I think it's possible that he really doesn't really like an. Lin Yuan was shocked. He just said 1 sentence, "You can hear so much content." Lin Yuan, trembling. JPG women are scary. He should not find a girlfriend for the time being, right? But the more important question is. But he has already left with Shu Yu. Xiang Yang walked towards the hotel sadly, his whole body seemed to be drawn with shadow lines in anime. Sai Xiaokengzhen really couldn't stand him. "I should continue to work as a light bulb, it's okay to harass me late at night." Xiang Yang turned his head and looked at her with hopeful eyes. "Xiaokengzhen, I suspect that the whole day today will be a trap." Speaking of unioning, because of Shu Yu's disappointment, they bought some snacks on the top of the mountain for dinner. The snacks in the tourist area are expensive, the portion is small, and the taste is very ordinary. I think it must be the same as the food in the hotel. It is incomparable. Later, on the way up, Shu Yu also thought of the same problem that Xiaokengzhen analyzed, and while going to the bathroom, he hurriedly explained to the group that he was jealous because Xiang Yang also liked Yuning, and Xiang Yang was his rival in love. He couldn't help it at the time, and felt sorry for them. Although other people replied, "So that's the case, it's nothing, but in fact, most of them couldn't help but say, "Oh, you only care about your discomfort, making us all follow you uncomfortable? You are so important." Real plastic classmates love nothing more than that. Shu Yu has no time to care about his classmates right now, because Yuning said that he wants to share a tent with him. Tents, while not soundproof, are often a great place to do things. He's hinting at him. Yuning carefully observed Shu Yu's expression, and said with a lost face, "Senior, doesn't want to be with me. No, I'm afraid I won't be able to control it." Shu Yu suddenly approached and whispered a naughty joke in his ear, "Do you still want to hear it? Wait until I set up the tent." Regarding Shu Yu's embarrassing teasing, Yu Xiaogui didn't feel any disturbance in his heart, but he still pretended to be blushing and heart-beating, rubbed his red face, picked up the cat at his feet and walked away. As soon as he got to a place where no one was around, Lu Onlin in the ring said anxiously, "Why do you?" Yuning let go of the cat and gave a shh, "Don't talk, just feel it quietly, I promise to give you an unexpected answer." The cat under his feet raised its head, looked at him calmly, and said to the other soul still in the cat's body, "Look at him, if that human dares to do anything to him, eat him." The other soul gave a habitual meow before saying, "The respected archangel, what are you going to do?" The man didn't speak, but only answered in his heart, "Catch. Rape." The author has something to say, "It is clear that you are here to chase your wife, but you have to experience the attack of catching and first, sad." When night fell, no one proposed to play any games together, and they all got together in threes and twos, either playing with their mobile phones, or going to the barbecue area to buy a few skewers of barbecue. It was a bit cold on the top of the mountain. Although the senior sister had mentioned it before coming here, the temperature still exceeded their expectations. After a while, most of the people who chose to camp here entered the tents. Union still rented a tent for his cat. He carried the cat into the tent first, and then entered Shu Yu's tent. "It's so cold." Yuning lay down, looking at Shu Yu with beautiful eyes. His eyes seemed to be filled with mist, beautiful and seductive. Shu Yu was very irritated, but still had to lie down with Yuning, and was planning to hold back those negative tyrannical emotions, touching the person next to him who seemed to be very sweet, but he turned back. Yuning raised his legs, and the soft cloth on his knees brushed against Shu Yu's crotch. Shu Yu's face changed instantly. People in love sometimes don't need any sweet words when they are alone, just a look and a movement can ignite the whole body. Therefore, although Yuning's actions were bold and proactive, they were considered normal. Then, Shu Yu's dark and gloomy face seemed very abnormal. Yuning rubbed against him again, and shouted out that incomparably charming voice, "Senior! Even an angel can't resist the temptation from a succubus, let alone Shu Yu is just a human being?" Shu Yu didn't know what was going on with Yuning today, why his lips looked so soft, why his eyes were so sticky, and why his voice was so nice. All he knew was that he really wanted to kill someone now. Yunin understood him perfectly. Because the lump on his knee was as soft as noodles. Exactly as he guessed. Why did Lu Onlin beg for Shu Yu's favor like that in the previous life, but Shu Yu was not moved? It's not that Shu Yu really hates Lu Onlin, he has no interest in Lu Onlin at all, and if Shu Yu is out for revenge, then he can sleep with Lu Onlin, and the pleasure of revenge must be more. Don't touch it, just because he can't. Lu Onlin lost her self-confidence, became inferior, and never guessed, but Yuning was different. Based on Lu Onlin's memories of that night in the tent, Shu Yu only helped Lu Onlin that night, and as for Shu Yu, he never let Lu Onlin touch him. Shu Yu grabbed Yuning's leg, he was very hard, his eyes were bloodshot, and he almost gritted his teeth when he said, "Don't make trouble. Be obedient, you are outside now." Yuning was taken aback by his ferocious appearance, struggled a bit but did not get rid of it, his eyes were filled with water vapor, and he said aggrievedly, "Senior, it hurts." With such a tone and such an expression at this time. Shu Yu took a deep breath, kept suppressing the thought of strangling the person in front of him, and slowly let go. Previously, he had planned to do something for Lu Onlin tonight to enhance his relationship. He always felt that Lu Onlin didn't love him as much as he did in his last life these days, but at this moment any plans and ideas were almost burned by the fire that could not be vented in his body. Yu Ning touched his leg, and looked at Shu Yu timidly, as if he felt that the senior at the moment was terrible. He sat up, and whispered, "I'm sorry, senior, for making you feel so uncomfortable. I'd better go to sleep, my cat may miss me, good night." Although he knew that Shu Yu would not be at ease tonight. As soon as Yu Ning came out, he saw his cat squatting outside Shu Yu's tent. He hugged the cat with a smile, and walked briskly back to his tent. He didn't realize that not far from him on the top of Xianhe mountain under the night, a man withdrew his foot that was about to walk this way. When Lu Onlin waited for Yu Ning to return to the tent, she couldn't help but said, "How did you know? I never thought of it." Yu Ning heard from this human's tone that he was blowing him, and he was in a great mood. "Didn't I say that? I said that I hope Shu Yu will have it in the next life, and I can't be hard." Lu Onlin. "So the original also, do you mean this?" However, Yu Ning sat in the tent and stroked the cat. "Do you know why he hates you so much?" "I don't know either. I only heard him say that he had resurrected his life and had already eliminated Lu Onlin. Nothing was his hindrance anymore." Shu Yu woke up from a nightmare that night, and he only said a few words. Even after the others, he never mentioned it again, so Lu Onlin only knew so much. Yu Ning scratched the cat's chin and thought for a while. "Hinder? Is he a hindrance? Because you chopped off his in the first life, which caused him to have sequelae after rebirth, so he has to suffer so much. You killed you and occupied your home. Although it sounds logical, it always feels weird." "Lu Onlin, I probably wouldn't do that." What he said was rather tactful. In fact, from his character, he didn't cause trouble, and even if he really had any trouble with others, he would not choose such violent methods. At most, he would call the police. Of course Yu Ning knew this, he was just being skinny. He also has the nature of being a devil to play tricks on people, and he feels good when he thinks that the anger that Shu Yu was stirred up by him tonight can't be vented in his body, but can only be suppressed. "I'll give you an even more surprise tomorrow." After Yu Ning finished speaking, he fell asleep in a good mood. The black cat lying next to his pillow flicked its tail, looking at its owner's flourishing beauty, hesitating. Should he take advantage of the absence of the archangel, tell the owner that an angel has occupied its body, and deliberately approach the owner? But, what if the archangel promised it a blind date? Because the owner is so beautiful, every time they fall in love with a monster, they will always compete with it after seeing its owner. It is really not true love. It has been single for almost 100 years. Meow. It is definitely not unfaithful. It believes that with the bad acting skills of the archangel, its extremely clever master will find out soon. Yu Ning knew nothing about the betrayal of his pet because of a verbally agreed blind date. He got up early the next day and watched the sunrise with his seniors and sisters. In addition to barbecue food stalls, there are also breakfast stalls on the top of the mountain, mainly because there are many tourists who come here to watch the sunrise, especially on holidays. A group of people walked down the mountain after breakfast, and when they passed by the entrance of the hotel, they met the 3 Xiangyang people who happened to come out. Xianjiang's state was in a state of confusion. After seeing Yu Ning, he seemed to be watered again, and he became much more energetic in an instant. Mainly, Xiaokongzhen told him that she chatted with Yu Ning last night, but Yu Ning didn't answer a single one. But looking at it today, his Anan was not bullied by that hypocrite Shu Yu. That is really good. What do you see me doing? Yu Ning touched his face, as if wondering if it was unclean. No, Xiang Yang shook his head, smiling brightly, you look very good. Yu Ning said yeah, I was too tired yesterday, so I went to bed very early. By the way, we are going down, shall we go together? Xiaokongzhen didn't want to really go down, the mountain was not very low. Yuning saw her worries and said, don't worry, don't walk, let's take the cable car down. The money they saved yesterday was just to take the cable car on Xianhe mountain when going down the mountain today. It must be a great feeling to have a panoramic view of the scenery. That being the case, Xiaokongzhen definitely agrees, after all, her light bulb still needs to continue to glow and heat. When I arrived at the place where the cable car was taken, a car just got out there, and there was a man next to him, who seemed to be unable to fit in and was about to take the next one. When he saw someone coming, he glanced this way. It was just a reflexive glance, but it completely swept Yuning's figure. The tip of Yuning's nose moved, and he smelled delicious food. I didn't think it before, it's been a few days since I came to the world, and it's been a few days since I ate last time, the little succubus wants to eat. And now, the source of that scent. Yuning locked his eyes on the man not far away. The man didn't seem to notice, and was listening to the staff next to him. When they got closer, they realized that the staff member was not an ordinary staff member. His position on the job card was not low. The main reason was that his posture was too low and he was too attentive, so they misunderstood that this tourist had some dissatisfaction and wanted to complain. The staff is patiently explaining. Many members of Yuning's group looked at the man frequently. He was very handsome and temperamental, and he was very rich at first glance. They bought tickets while watching and got on the cable car. As soon as they sat down, the man waved to the management personnel of the tourist area, and boarded them with long legs. In this cable car, 3 people, Yuning, Shuyu and Xiang Yang, plus the man just happened to be on the cable car, and the seniors and sisters took the next one. After the man got into the car, he just sat quietly on the seat, his eyes once fell on the cat in Yuning's arms, and he has been resting against the seat since then. Yuning looked at the contours of his face and body, licked his lips, touched the cat, and then turned his head to look at the scenery. Because there were strangers and they seemed to be resting, they didn't speak much. Soon, the cable car arrived. The man left first, while Yuning and the others stayed and waited for their companions. When the few people behind caught up, they were about to leave, but saw a senior sister anxiously said, "My bag fell. I remember the location, a lot of things are inside, I have to look for it." She took a photo on the cable car, but the dew was heavy in the morning, and she slipped on her foot. Although there were guards, she was fine, but the bag fell. "It's just down there, so it shouldn't be too hard to find." Yuning raised his eyebrows secretly, "It's a coincidence, it saves trouble." Even if there was no matter about senior sister, he would still go to the woods below. Because he knew that there was a female corpse underneath. The time of death was not too long, it was last Saturday, the night when Yuning attended Xiang Yang's birthday party. It was a coincidence that when Yuning went back that night, he was stabbed in the eyes by a driver with high beams on, and asked the cat to take revenge, only to find that the group of 5 that Lu Onlin wanted to take revenge was in that car. An unconscious girl was lying there. The cat called the police at that time, and the license plate number and route were clear. Yunyan can't use too much ability, and his cat is naturally the same. The police vowed that the criminal would be caught, and the cat had to go back and tell Yuning, so it didn't care about the rest. When looking for the traces of the 5 people again, the girl was already dead, and the 5 people were throwing the body away. It only had time to take pictures of them throwing their bodies. Later, when he brought the things to Yuning, Yuning was surprised and said when his cat became so smart. "Cat, probably after the archangel lived in my body." The author has something to say, "Ning, I want to eat." "Gong, come and eat."